Run it back.
Ready?
Keep it light.
There's so many out there, you just don't know.
Which ones to watch and when to say no. That's why Ryan and
Andrew
watch so you don't have to.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 27 of
We watch so you don't have to.
the Bad Movie Podcast, starring Andrew Price and
Ryan Webb.
yeah. So this is a very unique podcast for us. We're doing this remote over Google Hangouts.
First time ever.
First time ever. So, we'll see how it goes. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, Ryan, what movie did we watch?
We watched the blockbuster hit sequel, Now You See Me Too, starring Jesse Eisenberg, Mark Ruffalo, Woody Harrelson, Daniel Radcliffe, and the Night
Dave
Sweats.
Franco.
Dave Franco.
And who's the girl? What was her name?
Oh, Lizzie Kaplan. She was actually the best part of the whole damn movie.
Yeah. This movie was terrible. And I hated the first one, and we decided to watch the sequel. Mm-hmm. I had to watch it twice. Because a lot of time happened between the first and the second go, and I was worried I'd forget everything. And
then we waited 2 weeks to record, so problem solved.
Yeah. We gotta do a summary. Let's jump into a summary.
Yeah. And this will be key. You want to do a summary that sort of captures enough of Now You See Me 1 so that people can quickly just jump right into to what we're going to talk about for this amazing sequel. Complex story, so I'll let you take it.
This movie's about magic.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, it's about these illusionists who call themselves the Four Horsemen. And they use trickery to elude certain bad guys and rob certain banks. And they pull off all these magnificent stunts. And they get all this press. And they're like four David Blaines. They're amazing. They're kind of criminals, though,
Yeah,
but
it's complicated.
That's what makes it cool. And they're sort of led by Woody Harrelson, who's like their mentor.
Is that
guide.
Is that the sense you get? They're led by Woody Harrelson.
Well, he's not one of the horsemen, is he?
Yeah, but I like the whole thing was like sort of a power struggle between Mark Ruffalo, who I can't understand how the hell he's the leader because he's the only one that doesn't do magic. And then
he's also in the FBI, like trying to help them find the Four Horsemen or something.
It's so stupid.
It's really confusing. There's a lot of characters in this movie, so it's
Morgan Freeman, difficult. Dude. How did we go through the actors in the beginning and not say Morgan Freeman?
Yeah. Well, he's not really that well known in Hollywood,
Yeah, he's kind of a young up and comer.
Yeah.
You know another young up and comer that stars in this movie. Everybody want to keep your eye on Michael Caine.
Oh yeah, he's only been in like one movie.
Yeah,
he was in Batman or something.
Yeah,
briefly.
I don't know how you land that as a first role, but he did it.
Yeah.
Anyways, we can argue about the leader of this stupid band of idiots later. Go ahead and keep going with the summary.
Yeah. So I don't really remember what happened at the end of the first movie, but they pull off some illusion. They disappear. I think they actually get captured though in the end. They get taken in, right? And then, but the final scene is like they slip out of their handcuffs and escape or something. Like,
that sounds so like this movie.
I'm pretty sure that's how the first one ended, and so it paved the way for a totally unnecessary sequel. And the sequel starts out with Morgan Freeman's character is imprisoned. Somehow they like switched out of their handcuffs and put them on him and made him the bad guy. So now he's been in prison, and so he's out to get these Four Horsemen.
Well, they're like, weren't there four people we were arresting? And
No, I think it was just the one guy.
Just this dude right here.
And then there's like a new horseman, Liz Kaplan. She joins the crew, just kind of like bullies her way into the crew. She's like, I know all about you guys, and I'm a fairly decent illusionist. Let me into your crew. And they're like, okay. So I guess that's all it takes to be in the crew of the Four Horsemen. Dude, I don't. And then they get captured, the Four Horsemen, and they wake up and they're in Macau.
They were in New York. They jumped down some tube from a rooftop in New York and landed in Macau. In
a split second, they're in Macau. And I was like, all right, that's how this movie's going to play out. That's fucking bullshit. They wake up in Macau, and Daniel Radcliffe, aka Harry Potter, has captured them.
Let's refer to him as Harry Potter throughout the rest of this.
Harry Potter. And do you want to take it from here? Because
I'm gonna give a quick summary because there's some stuff I want to jump into. But really, what happens is they're sort of held hostage by Harry Potter, excuse me.
Owned by his real name.
Yeah. And the whole premise is that he wants them to steal a microchip for him that is this like all-powerful chip that's a backdoor to every computer on the planet. Like they use so many things like
access every computer system in the world. Which that also happened in Baby Geniuses, Super Babies.
I know, that's how dumb this is. It's like, if you're going to do something like that, just make it like a cool specific thing where it's like, we're going to drain the bank accounts of like the 3 largest banks or I don't know, something just like specific and believable. You know what I mean?
Like how do you explain this tiny little chip can control every computer system in the world?
Also, like, you don't want to have access to every computer in the world. There's going to be so much boring shit out there that you don't want access to. You know what I mean? It's like, that's not fun. Anyway.
It was just lazy writing. It was lazy.
It was lazy. So basically he's asking them to steal that. And they're like, well, we can't say no, so we will. And then something about Mark Ruffalo needing Morgan Freeman to help him find the 4 horsemen. So he frees him from jail. And then that whole storyline plays out, which is absolutely bananas. Dude, that's it. That's like, and then the
whole epic scene where they got to get the computer chip and everything that plays.
Yeah, so they have to get the computer chip, steal it, and then they turn the tables on Daniel Radcliffe and his super evil dad, Michael Caine. I'm keep saying Daniel Radcliffe, dude. God,
it's okay. It's okay. But they swap out the chip or something, dude. I don't know. It was hard to follow along.
That's the premise. You know why it's hard to follow along? Because this movie relies on insane fake outs and just crazy bullshit one-upping and twists. There were so many twists that by the end, it's not like a cool M. Night Shyamalan twist like at the end of a movie. It's like everything is a twist to where I'm like, I don't believe anything and I'm exhausted, literally physically exhausted.
Every scene sort of like pulls the rug out from under you, but not in like an amazing way, in a way that like you bash your head and like split it open and then you're just pissed off.
It sort of feels like this movie was written by not like one writer, but like several hundred. And they did something where they were like, okay, each person write a paragraph. And then when you've written your last sentence, just end it with, and then ... And the next person comes in.
I totally believe that because it was completely incoherent. You know, it was like a bunch of weird little side stories. And also there were so many fucking characters. That's such a bad movie move, you know? It's like, are you going to have 15 characters in a single movie? It's because there's like little to no substance and you just got to like try and find ways to like have flashy special effects and like, ooh, look at this card trick. And, you know, and
shiny objects, dude.
There's a lot of shiny objects. And then there's stuff that just flat out doesn't make sense. Like when they like freeze time and like stop the water, like the rain.
Yeah.
They freeze water droplets in space. And then, which is pretty badass because I was like, all right, Jesse Eisenberg is a fucking superhero. He can like freeze time. That's amazing. But then they're like, no, we did that with spotlights.
Also,
You know,
dude,
it's like, fuck you, dude. Like the camera zoomed in on like the water droplet and did like a matrix, like, 360 view of it. There was no spotlight there. There's no fucking spotlight.
We have to talk. Do you want to talk about that scene now? It's the end of the movie. I mean, do you want to talk about it?
Let's fast forward to the end of the movie.
Dude, so you know why I had such a problem with the way that whole thing played out? It's like they were doing these magic tricks and then explaining them to everyone, which never happens at an actual magic show. You know what I mean? Like, would that be cool if like David Blaine's like, look, oh, I'm hovering. And then when it's done, he's like, I did that using like, some air, a powerful air system and a rocket engine. It's like, oh, okay. Like that's not exciting anymore.
But they were also really, really lame magic tricks, like Dave Franco with his like giant cards and how he got the people behind him and they were like shifting. It was literally like, I've got like 3 cups and there's a ball underneath one of them and I'm moving them around and it's not where you thought it was. And you're going to have that as the finale.
I felt so bad for him, dude. Like he speaking of like, he gets dealt the worst hand, pun intended. Like he's just like the card guy. Like everything focuses on cards for him. And his biggest contribution to the whole gang is that he's really badass at throwing cards, which by the way, that's not a magic trick, right?
It's not a magic trick. And that reminds me of the scene where he's with Woody Harrelson and they're just flipping cards through this car for about 10 minutes. That's all they're doing. It's just flipping. Well, because
they have to set up that he's so good at flipping cards that he can teach the whole rest of the crew to be so good at flipping cards that they can all be that skilled when they go into that microchip stealing scene and they have to literally toss the card around in front of all the security guards without them seeing, which is just, that whole scene was just such, now I just feel like we're getting mad at this movie. I don't know what to say to like that's meaningful for people to take away for this,
Let's talk more about the card exchange scene, because it's not like they just like flipped it once and then they escaped from the facility with the chip that they were after. So they planted this chip on this card because it was roughly the size of like a playing card or whatever.
And by the way, this place has like the utmost security, right? We should talk about that. Like,
yeah, there's guards walking all around, like everybody's staring at these guys. Why did they let them in the first place? They were just like, oh, we want to like see this chip or something. They just let these guys in.
I can't even talk. I have so many questions about that, but I don't think it's gonna be coherent. Like, remember, they're like they're impersonating these 4 characters, and they're like, Jesse Eisenberg is the famous doctor physicist. But then it turns out that the guy's talking to the girl, and it's like, how would you mess that up? How would you not know that like the famous physicist is a female? Like, like, if you're impersonating people that that they're expecting, enough about, their names. How did you not? It's so confusing, and it's just like, it's yet another twist that's like, well, hold on, but you didn't set that up. It doesn't make any sense,
Well, and the guards were so stupid by letting them in. And it's like, did they really have to go to the extent of doing all these crazy card tricks? Like, just fucking like
push them down.
One of the guys in the face, push them down. We'll be like, oops,
dude,
and then just walk out of there, dude. Walk around the metal detector.
I think like the core. This seems perfect for talking about like the core of what's wrong with this movie, which is that these characters come off in the movie like. Everyone in the movie universe, like the people that live in these cities and in the world and like go to these shows, they treat these 4 horsemen like they are freaking badass superheroes. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, people are literally like ripping their hair out when they come up on stage. You know what I mean? It's like the friggin' Beatles, like in their heyday or something.
It's like they post a video to YouTube and you just see like the counter just racking up views, views, like billions and billions of views.
Which is like, it's so weird that the whole world is obsessed with these people who are just at best decent magicians. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, okay, like weird that we've all latched onto this, and then to top it off, they walk around and act like they're so badass for being such cool magician types, which is just like, is anyone buying any of that? Like, I mean, like, okay, what's the best example you brought up? Like David Blaine, right? It's
just they're so cocky and arrogant the whole time.
If you saw David Blaine in public, what would you do?
I'd give him a kiss on the mouth.
Okay, then this makes sense.
I mean, I wouldn't freak out, but I know that like the shit that he does is way more impressive than any of the stuff that they did in this movie.
Yeah, but
I would just be like, this is badass.
Yeah, don't you think you'd be like, hey, that's David Blaine. Let's go see what he's doing. You wouldn't be like literally like ripping your shirt off of your body and just like screaming into the air because you got a chance to see him. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I might. I'm just kidding. You're right. You're right.
What are we talking about anymore? Go back to so the point is that they just walk into this place like they own it, and then they just literally bully these guards in the weirdest way.
Yeah, they distract him somehow. Like Liz Kaplan does something or whatever.
No, Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson does. He does a cough. He coughs.
He coughs, and then that distracts the head guy and all 4 guards, and they're like, "Oh, this is a clean room. You can't be coughing." And they're like, "Oh, he does this sometimes. He's allergic to the clean air." This is how stupid this thing is. He's allergic to the clean air, and they all hands on deck, all start catering to him. At which point, Franco comically runs around the corner and steals the chip.
Yeah, he like pries open a panel, makes all this noise, steals this chip, attaches it to a playing card. And then from that point on, it is the craziest fucking shit I think I've ever seen in a movie.
My jaw.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it, dude. It's like, so the guard sees Dave Franco come around the corner and he gets very suspicious. He's like, hey, wait a minute. And then so Dave Franco's got to like slip this card like down his shirt or whatever. And then the camera zooms in like down his shirt and you see the card traveling. Then he goes through his
it's moving around like it's a snake or something.
It wraps around in like his weenie for a second and then goes down out of his pants. And then he like does like a little kick. And then someone else catches it. And then they do like a fucking wave or something and then flip it to like somebody else. And the whole thing just plays out. Like they're just doing all these crazy, like quote unquote smooth, like dance moves that are all like cool looking so that they could flip cards around the room for like 10 minutes.
Not even exactly. Yeah, literally an actual like 15-minute window of the movie is the 4 of them flicking it back and forth. And it's like, at some point, like, when is this going to stop? Remember how they were like, that like when the guards almost were like, they were like, we need to pat you down and make sure you don't have anything. And they would be patting him down. And then they would just like they would smack him on the butt or like boink him on the head or something. And then they would like flick the card right when that happened. It's like, dude, if you're in a situation where military guys are patting you down and you flick them in the forehead to like distract them, you're dead. Like, or at least beat up. You know what I mean? But instead, these guys are just like, whee! I know the movie kicks off and Morgan Freeman's doing an interview, and his title is that he is a quote unquote magic debunker. Oh,
Thaddeus. What was his name? Thaddeus?
Like Thaddeus Clay or something, maybe, or something. Mm-hmm. Thaddeus. And it was just, and then the magician that he's like there trying to debunk or something is like, listen, son, I've got to go out there. I've got to prove all these naysayers wrong. It's what I do. And it's like, okay, well, there's one dickhead that's a magic debunker, but like everyone else is just cheering and excited to see a magic show. So like, really, is this what you've all like, you focused all on this like one idiot that's trying to like, no one wants you to do that, by the way, right? Like,
yeah, Morgan Freeman, I don't know.
I didn't.
He didn't really need to. He did the intro and the outro for this movie, right? I mean, that's what he does best. Maybe that's why they put him in this movie. But remember when he's like trying to explain magic, like in the intro, and it shows the word believe, and then it like zooms in on the word lie.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa. And then it's like, there was another instance where like the camera flipped and it was like lover, and then it like goes upside down. And it's like, or thief, something like that. It's so stupid. It's just like, dude, I see it.
Maybe, yeah.
I see it. It's not impressive,
Maybe you just have to be like really, 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 really stoned to think all this stuff is cool, right? Like, and then you're just like, dude, how did they change that to lie?
I think you just have to be stupid.
Yeah, that's
cool.
Yeah, you're right. That's my bad. Yep. Well, hold on. An elite magic society named the Eye. That's not cool.
So this was like towards the beginning where Mark Ruffalo was working with, he works for what, like the FBI, or he's a detective, and he's helping his team kind of capture the Four Horsemen, although he's not really helping them because he works alongside them.
Yeah, he's their leader. He's their non-magician leader.
Yeah, and so he brings everybody over to like this bulletin board where there's like thumbtacks and strings, and he has all these pictures of this pigeon.
Dude, this is what I was gonna talk about.
Oh, really?
Yes, this is such a great example of how dumb this movie is from the start. Go ahead.
Because I didn't know. It's been a while since I've seen the first one, but I didn't realize at that point that he was working alongside these guys. I thought he was doing like genuine, real, like detective work. Like, no, this pigeon is gonna take us to the Four Horsemen. I thought he was being serious, but he was just lying to them, right?
Yeah, I know. And he was like, look, right where this guy was seen, this pigeon, and then look, the same pigeon. And I'm like, dude, I don't think even pigeons can recognize other pigeons accurately. They all look the same. They're exactly identical.
But he just acted that out in a way that was like sort of like, I believe that he was really trying to sell in this pigeon, to his team. I didn't think he was trying to like deceive them. It was so weird.
Well, if you're trying to play both sides, don't you think you would like have a smarter way of giving like false data or something like that? Like when you come in with that kind of shit, they're just gonna be like, dude, you're fired. You're literally fired because you're talking about like tracking pigeons. That's not the same pigeon, dude. That's just a pigeon. They're all over the city. This is New York City.
There's millions of them.
They're everywhere. Like you can't build a case on that. Like who's he kidding? No, himself.
They should have fired him a long time ago.
Absolutely.
He's doing like pigeon detective work. And he's like promoted to captain. Dude, nothing makes sense in this movie.
Pigeon private eye, dude. He's gonna open his own bureau. Tracking down pigeons.
Oh man. Do you remember when Jesse Eisenberg was like walking through wherever the fuck they were, and he was casually like switching in and out of disguises, just like tearing off like random pieces of clothes, and then like his cummerbund or whatever would just slip right off, and then he'd like tap his heels and his shoes would fucking go into outer space. Just like slip into other.
I'm like, dude. And then he threw the last piece of his disguise behind him overhead into like some bin, and it was just like, this movie goes so far, and it's like, it's not cool anymore. It was never cool. It's definitely not cool now. It's stupid. You've made it stupid because you've taken it so far.
It's just so self-unaware because the director must think this is the most badass movie on the planet, like times 10.
Dude, you know what the whole thing is? I realized, you know what it is? At the end of the movie, it said executive producer David Copperfield.
You're lying to me right now.
Yeah, co-producer David Copperfield. And I was like, dude, this all makes sense. No wonder they've built this world where it's like magicians are like rock star, sex symbol, badass superheroes. It's because like David Copperfield, that in his head, that's what magicians are.
No way, dude. Are you messing with me right now? Dude, he was really involved with this movie?
Yes, he was a co-producer. So they're like, hey, David, what would magicians do in this scenario? It's like, oh, I don't know. They'd probably get all the babes and then like steal the microchip and then like save the day.
Dude, David Copperfield is he still like relevant? David Blaine is pretty much like
they needed the other. They meant to get the other David. They're like, get that David. Get that David magician.
No, not Copperfield, you idiot. He's washed up. All right. Well, we've already got all these famous actors signed up.
Oh God. Dude, going back to that scene where Jesse Eisenberg was like the like waiter / whatever else he was, like they were trying to infiltrate that event, you know?
Yeah.
And like Dave Franco was a security guard, but he was like literally like 3 feet shorter than all the other security guards. Remember? And it was like, and the lady was like a chef, but it was like all the extras around them, like all the other security guards and chefs. It's like, I believe all of them. They all look the role. But these actors that are just in disguise stick out like a sore thumb. It's like, if that's happening for me, like, don't you think anyone involved in that scene in this tale would be like, dude, there's no way you're a security guard. I've never seen you before. We all work for the same company. You're literally like half of our size. You don't seem like you're able to secure the area.
I know. Yeah. And then Dave Franco was like, I don't know this guy, get him out of here. And then they just arrest. It was just so clumsy and just stupid. Like everyone was an idiot in this movie, you know? But they knew hypnotism. So maybe Dave Franco did a little hypnotism, mind control, if you will.
Their version of hypnotism, though, is just saying the same word like over and over, or like a version of that, right? Remember, it was like flow, flowing, flow, floater, floater, flowing, flow. It's like,
well, I'm hypnotized, dude. You got me.
Whoa, don't do that. Don't do that.
Stop. I gotta look away. All right, snap. And I'm out.
Dude.
Remember when they were like, we got to go to plan C4 and then something like detonated in the background?
No.
All the jokes were just so like on the nose, you know?
Yeah, it was, yeah, for sure. Well, none of it was believable is the thing, you know? It's just like, there was no point where any of it was believable. It's like you have, so for instance, like, remember when Harry Potter kidnaps the group and Dave Franco is like standing up to him? Remember that moment? Like they're in like Harry Potter's badass penthouse and like the camera zooms out and it's like, you see, I know I'm like, I don't mean to be picking on these guys for being like short again, but it's like Woody Harrelson is like literally like towering over the both of them, and Harry Potter and Dave Franco are like eye to eye, like they're like tough guys about to beat each other up. But it's like Harry Potter's like wearing like a friggin' leisure suit, and Dave Franco's wearing like tight pants and a leather jacket. I'm like, neither of these guys are gonna throw a punch. Like I don't believe any of this.
Also, every time they showed Harry Potter, it was kind of shocking. Like, why is he so tired? Doesn't he look like he's just so tired? His eyes are all sunken in. He's got dark circles.
Well, I think I think they were trying
Does
to.
He ever go to bed?
Well, dude, the thing is like he had to get his private files. Remember, like that whole computer chip thing. They had his private files.
Do you think that was just his character and they made him look tired? I think that's him in real life, dude.
Yeah. Well, I mean, dude, he's got that Harry Potter money. He's probably swimming in mountains of cocaine. Like Scrooge McDucking.
Harry Potter money.
He's Scrooge McDucking into just like a vault of cocaine every morning. Right? I mean, like,
yeah, you're right. That makes sense.
And then he's like, oh, Dave Franco seems cool. Maybe I can meet his cooler older brother, James. I'll do this movie. I don't need the money. I'm Harry Potter.
Hey, I've got a quote here. This is a real quote. This is also, we have got to talk about Woody Harrelson's twin brother, dude.
I can't believe we haven't talked about it.
The fuck. All right, so I'll start with this quote from his twin brother, just to give you a sense of what this guy is like. Looky here. But the only thing you'll be looking at is the inside of your colon with the words 4 horsemen written in blood.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit. What?
I couldn't believe, dude, I had to go back and I was like, no way he just said that. Rewound it word for word.
Dude, the whole reveal, the reveal of like when they first get, so this is when they first get kidnapped and they appear in Macau from New York City, which you're already like, okay, this is friggin' bullshit. I'm done with this movie. 12 minutes in. And then the bad guy that kidnapped them and, and like transported them magically to Macau, when he turns around, you know what I first thought? I was like, they got Matthew McConaughey in this movie? Holy shit. Didn't he look like Matthew McConaughey in the weirdest way?
Dude, he spun around in that chair with the goofiest grin.
They gave him
his curly hair.
They gave him big fake teeth and curly hair, and it's Woody Harrelson. And it's like, oh, well, that's really weird. And then guess what? If you're gonna do that and try and pull off this like the same actor doing 2 roles, one good and one evil in a movie, which is already like good luck. But then he's not even the real bad guy. Then it's like immediately like new twist. It's not even him. It's really Harry Potter. New twist. It's not Harry Potter. It's Michael Caine, who was like from the first movie. New twist. Like their father and son. New twist. It's like, what?
Did they need another character? No. They were like, we've got 20 characters. We need one more, but we don't have budget for another actor.
And Woody Harrelson's like, I'll do it. He's like, I don't give a fuck. I'll do it. It was so weird. Like, what? Like, it didn't. I guess they thought maybe it would be so funny. It's like, oh, that's Woody Harrelson in a wig. It's like, this is just pitiful.
They thought they could get away with anything, dude. They wanted to see how far they could go. And you know what? They're probably going to make it Now You See Me 3.
Dude, no, they
This
are.
fucking franchise is not over with.
Andrew, they already started making 3 before 2 was done.
Are you just saying that?
No, I looked it up right before this because I was like, I hate this movie so much. I hope there's a third one because this is podcast gold.
This might be the worst movie we've done. It's because it's just so.
It's infuriating though. It's like I think the only movie that I've been as mad at is Independence Day. And I'm way more mad at this movie because there's more inexplicable bullshit constantly being thrown at you.
There was never like a funny moment. Like I never laughed. It was just like it made me angry. Like it actually made me angry. Some of these movies we have fun with, and it's just like, oh, that's great. But this one pissed me off because they got away with things that they shouldn't have gotten away with.
Yeah, totally. I mean, like, dude, for instance, at one point, Mark Ruffalo is looking for Jesse Eisenberg. He's like, I can't find him, right? So he goes to that magic shop where like all the best superhero magicians get their magic, items or whatever. Oh, who knows? And the guy's like, oh, I think he was going to the market. And then he goes and finds him. And it was like...
There's all these people. It's in the middle of Macau.
Isn't Macau a very large city? Like, if there is a market, I'm sure there's literally friggin' like somewhere between 12 and 200 markets, right?
Yeah, and it was completely crowded, shoulder to shoulder people. Like you couldn't find anybody. It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack.
Yeah, but that's just like so this movie. It's just like, well, we need to have him find him. So just have this character tell him where he is, but non-specifically. It's like, I felt like Mark Ruffalo was running out the door and then the guy was like, is that the market? Oh, well, he'll find it. Like, he ran off so quick. I was going to tell him like,
it just made me so mad. Can we skip ahead to like the final scene after they pulled off this crazy stunt where they tricked Harry Potter and Woody Harrelson's idiot brother and all the other bad guys? They fooled them into thinking that they had stolen a plane and they like jumped out of the plane or whatever, but it was all like staged and everybody like crowded around in the middle of this like landmark, wherever the fuck they were. I don't know.
Dude, we have to explain that a little bit though. Like, cause that's like that's a huge frustrating part. Just that made me think that real quick, like this is on love level with like the pigeon identification thing. Wasn't there a point where they were on the plane and they used Woody Harrelson's twin to like identify Woody Harrelson? They did like a face match and they're like, yep, it's him or something like that. Do you remember that?
Yeah, vaguely. I remember that.
I just remember it being like, this is strange. And there's like, okay, well now you've identified one of the 4 horsemen. Like that helps you like for a fourth of the way. You know what I mean?
Who is also your twin brother. Like, and you're just going to ID this one guy. And yeah, it's
also like, it's your twin brother. Shouldn't he be like, yep, that's him. It's like, you shouldn't need some sort of like face app in order to like figure it out. It was like, you know what I mean? It's just like, that's so out of, anyways, dude. So they're on this, the bad guys, Harry Potter and Michael Caine, who are like father and son duo. They're like super evil, except everything they do is laughable, right? Like they're like the most soft bad guys. Like I love Michael Caine. He's a great actor, and Harry Potter is like actually magical for sure. He's a wizard.
Yeah.
But neither of them come off as a bad guy at all.
They're drinking tea together. You know?
Yeah, they thought that was gonna be such tea. They're like, while they're like kidnapping people, like it's so badass that they're like, would you like some tea? And like they're in big fur coats and like cheersing, and it's just like, you two squids, I don't buy for a second that you're like evil masterminds. Like you're so far off. You know what I mean? Dude, but so going to the whole plane, so Harry Potter and Michael Caine have successfully kidnapped the 4 horsemen, and then they're like, all right, we're gonna throw you out of the plane. So they do. They open the plane door. All this wind comes in, and then Michael Caine and Harry Potter continue like drinking their like tea like total badasses. And I'm just thinking like the whole time, like, have they never been on a plane before? Like that's not what would happen.
They weren't they? They had a bottle of like the most expensive champagne in the world or something.
Yeah, it was like $1.2 million, and so they were like drinking that while all this wind is blowing in on a private plane. It's not a big plane. So like
also,
the doors.
if you open the door on a tiny plane, like that plane's going to go down.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Everything's getting sucked out. And like, you're not going to just sit there drinking your champagne like a prick. Like, you're dead. So like the fact that like that was all a setup and that was like the Four Horsemen were like, tricked you, this plane never took off. It was on the ground. We did that with like air tricks and lighting. And it's like, well, yeah, but the first sign to them should have been that like, well, hold on. They just opened the door. Like, we should have been sucked out. Like, that's like dead giveaway, right?
Couldn't they have just looked out of the window? Because when everybody exited the plane, it was like lights and people everywhere. And like they were on the ground. They were by like a bridge.
Yeah.
But I guess like there was just so much wind and water that's you couldn't see anything outside of that.
Dude, also,
I mean,
no, you're right. You're right. It's like that, like, again, it's a logic leap that's impossible to make. And then the other thing is, that's like the climax of the movie, and the horsemen are explaining how they like tricked these bad guys into thinking they were in a plane flying when really they were on the ground. And it was like they're explaining to everybody and everyone's cheering and like geeking out. And it's like, if you're an audience member, that trick's not cool because that trick's not for you. The people that got tricked are only the people in the plane. That trick's only cool to them.
right.
Everyone else is just like, we're watching some curtains and hearing this guy explain a trick they did to someone else. That's not exciting.
Also, does the audience even know like who the bad guys are and like what's like any sort of background, or do they just like completely, they're just super loyal to the Four Horsemen? They're like, whatever you guys want to fucking do, you can kill like the Queen of England. Like, yeah,
Yes,
like,
yes.
you know,
No,
yeah, die, Four Horsemen.
exactly.
You know?
They don't know who these people are. They don't know the whole like setup. They're just cheering dude. In fact, did you know that at this point, do you remember this? They were like, and now we're broadcasting live to the whole world. And it showed screens in Times Square and then populations all over the planet, like everyone all over the planet watching a video screen with the Four Horsemen broadcasting live. It's like, you can't pull that off.
You would never get an audience that big over a group of magicians who, you know, steal from bank. They are criminals. Why are they seen as heroes? You know what I mean?
I don't know. And also Jesse Eisenberg talks to everyone like such a dick. You think that people would be turned off by that, right?
I don't really like that. He was good in Social Network, but I don't really like
because
that
he
guy.
played
He's kind of annoying.
He's only good in Social
Played
Network
a
because he played a dickhead. Yeah.
Let's talk about the beginning scene with a young Mark Ruffalo watching his dad. It's like where I forget where it takes place. It's like 1984 or whatever. It's like some day or something. New Jersey. And his dad is this like world-renowned magician or whatever. He's doing this. I'm going to escape from like this giant safe. And so they're lowering the safe into the water. But prior to that, he's talking with his son, little Mark Ruffalo, and he's like, now all you got to do is just count to 30 and I'll get out of that safe. Okay, don't worry. The kid's like, okay, Dad, like, be safe. Good luck. So they like lower him. The safe like crashes into the water. It pans over to the kid and he's like 28, 29, 30. And then he just kind of goes 31, 32. And it keeps counting.
Yeah.
That's how the movie started. And his dad drowned, I guess.
I know. So shocking, dude. I was like, that was when I was like, okay, we're going to be in for a wild ride. This could be hilariously awesome. And then flash forward to them revealing Woody Harrelson's twin. And I was like, no, you know what? I'm done again. That small window of time where I was like, maybe they're going to do something interesting.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. Insane, dude.
Did you notice? Go ahead.
No, you go.
No, you go. No,
I want you to go. I only want you to go.
It was just a quick note about Morgan Freeman's tie at the very end. Do you remember how like bright and flowery it was?
No, we need a picture.
Okay, we'll have to post a picture. It was all I could look at. I have no idea what was said. I think the tie was joining in on the conversation. It had all my attention. It's all I was looking at. So.
Well, dude, I'm sure you don't know what was said at the end of the movie because it ends so oddly. It's like all I know is they were forming a plan and they all were contributing to the plan and everyone was like, and then we'll do this. Yeah, and then we'll do this. And I'll do this. And then I think maybe, I can't remember who, but someone turns and they're like, it's like that moment. And he's like, so who's in? And it's like, we're all in. We never were not in. You're not convinced. No one needs convince. You say, so who's in? When a group of people needs convincing to do something extraordinary that they might not have the guts to do. When the four of you are like, it's like being like, hey, who wants to go eat at this Mexican place for lunch? And everyone's like, I'm down. And then you turn to everyone and you're like, so who's in?
So
it's
who's
like,
in?
it's not, that's not at the moment.
Yeah. The group is already, they're all in. Like, what
we're once again, you're trying to make everything cooler than it is, you stupid magicians.
And I hated when they like went through the door right after that conversation happened. And then, you know, Morgan Freeman does the outro. He's talking about whatever the fuck. Meanwhile, it's slowly, the camera's slowly like zooming back from the staircase.
Yeah.
To reveal an eye, because this was all about the eye.
They're in the headquarters.
Did you not see that like right away though?
Oh, for sure.
Weren't you like, that's a fucking eye, like immediately? But it panned out for probably like 30 seconds or so. And then it was like, only now when it's finally fully panned out, now do you get it? You know, It's like, we're not stupid, dude. We're not idiots. This movie thinks that people are stupid.
Yeah.
That's why you get angry, is because it's insulting you. It's insulting your intelligence.
Dude, yeah, maybe that's what it is. You're like, hey, you can't shoot me like this. I'm a human being with a mind and a brain. Like you can't make me think that people go from New York to Macau instantly. That's not a thing.
Your movie magic can't fool me. Like that's fucking bullshit, and I won't stand for it.
Oh, and by the way, the magic on that, just so everyone knows, since we've referenced it so much, is that they literally just like, while they were going down that chute or something, they blasted them with like sound wave frequencies to knock them out. Well, and then they put them on a private plane to Macau. But dude,
Harry Potter was like having sex, not actually having sex, but like,
but he was doing like gross
pictures.
Yeah, like frat boy like things to them, like teabagging him and stuff. And for photos. Dude, but like the flight to Macau is at least 21 hours. So like, I don't think that's good for you to be passed out for like a whole day. You know what I mean?
Probably sustains like a little bit of like brain damage or something from that.
Do you think maybe that explains some of the things that some of the ways they acted after that, because they had massive like head trauma, like oxygen stopped going in their brain for the flight to Macau? Like maybe that's the whole thing.
That's why everyone was so easily hypnotized, you know, because their brain was like not working as well, and they're just like, you know,
parts were just shutting down left and right. So it's like when Woody Harrelson shows up at the door as a delivery driver and spins a pizza box, it's like, of course you're gonna get hypnotized. Like,
yeah,
you got me.
That would hypnotize me.
That would hypnotize. Yeah, that's by the way, like if I don't know if we can go back and grab a video clip, but that video clip specifically of Woody Harrelson as the dumb looking twin spinning a pizza box as a delivery boy is like gold.
We definitely have to post a clip of the twin for sure.
Yeah. Or at least, just a picture even. I don't know what else, dude. We definitely skipped all around, but I think we got it. I think we really nailed this movie to the wall. Yeah. And then do you want to explain the outro song? Just know that the chip that they're trying to steal, that is a backdoor to every computer in the world, is in that way a magic stick. And that might explain to you some of the choices of music in the actual movie, and that's what we'll send you out to.
Mm-hmm. Check it out. Magic stick.
I can hit twice, I'll hit the baddest chicks. Sure they don't believe me, then come with me tonight and I'll show you magic. What? Magic. I got the magic stick. I'm a freak to the core. Get a dose once, you gon' want some more. My tongue touch your girl, your toes bound to curl. This exclusive stick, I don't share with the world. I had you up early in the morning. Back shot, proper, the low can't stop us. Been a fiend for this, is rockin' made hits. Get the position down pat, then it's time to switch. I rock the boat, I work the middle. I speed it up, straight beat it up. When I ain't in the hood with my toes out low, I'm in the telly working up a sweat stroke. Tonight's the night, you can fall in love. You can call your mama right now, tell her you met a dog. I pop a lot of shit cause I can back it up. My left stroke's the death stroke.